Our main speaker tonight is Ron St. J.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ron St. John, and I am an alcoholic. Hi, Ron. Very good. I'd like to thank my old friend Alan for asking me to speak. It is an honor and a privilege and an immense thrill and a very high-quality head rush to be able to speak at a meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous. I just love speaking. Can never get tired of the sound of my voice on a microphone, and no matter how many times I hear myself tell my own story, I always find it to be utterly fascinating. I want to wish everybody Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah. I think that, I could talk all day about Christmas, but whatever. I think Christmas is a wonderful time to be in AA. I think Christmas is a wonderful time to be at meetings, Christmas and Hanukkah, any of the holidays. It's a time when we kind of need to stick together, and we're good about that. So anyways, I will describe in a general way what it was like, what happened, what it's like now. I was born quite a long time ago, and I grew up in the suburbs of Detroit, Michigan. Site of the 2020 convention. Detroit's a beautiful place. Don't believe anything that you think you know about Detroit. It's trees, parks, I was the oldest of 5 children, and my dad was a hardworking young man who got a job selling computers for IBM to Ford Motor Company, and so we were an up-and-coming young family. My mother worked part-time as a ballet teacher, and I should have had a normal Midwestern-type childhood, except for the fact that I was there. I just felt different and weird for no obvious reason. Ashamed of myself. I don't know what you can do when you're 4 years old to be ashamed of yourself, but whatever it was, I was. And like I say, my pretty little mom was a ballet teacher, so I got what every man here wishes he had, ballet lessons. My mom told me that it would help me in sports. That was another one of her damn lies. I was terrible in sports. I was a little skinny kid. Ballet wasn't bad enough. They gave me tap dancing lessons too, and also violin. They thought I might be good at the violin. So it was not a lot of pressure to be all masculine in my house. That was not an issue. We were a show business family. My grandparents were in vaudeville. My grandpa was a comedian. My grandma was a dancer. That's how they met, and it just seemed normal to us. I'm the only person here who broke his mother's heart by dropping out of drama school to become a lawyer, but I'll get to that later. I didn't stick with dancing or the violin, unfortunately, but I did, when I was 10, I started acting on stage. My mom took me, there was a child part of a college production, and they said, well, you got to go up on stage and you have to say, hey, lady, you want a guide? So I went up on stage and I said, hey, lady, you want a guide? And they're like, that's brilliant. He's perfect, so professional. And I was thinking, that was kind of easy. And I like doing things where I get a lot of compliments. So I did plays obsessively, one after another. Anything worth doing is worth doing to excess. And I would read plays in the library. I would listen to show tunes on the record player. We had record players back and then. I'll explain it later to the new people. And it got people to kind of like me. I felt like it was important for people to see me on stage, because before that, they just didn't like me. And I didn't like me either, to tell you the truth. I would have avoided me too if I had any choice in the matter, but everywhere I went, there I was. And so I went through life like that, really kind of needing a drink. This was in the 70s, so I grew my hair really long, like really, really long. And I wore my dad's old army jacket. That was a fashion statement then. Cover up my skinny arms, and I had the bell bottoms and the Let's Boogie shirt, the guy with the big shoes. people thought I was on drugs way before the time I really was on drugs. It was, but then when I was 16, I finally discovered alcohol and also pot, and my life got much better because it changed the world. It completely changed the world. Now I liked you, and now I thought you liked me. That's a big difference. That's a big difference when the world changes that way. So I drank any chance I got. I drank, all the gourmet wines that we were exposed to back then, like Annie Green Springs apple wine and Boone's Farm Strawberry Hill. That was, I basically drank anything I could get a hold of. It was, I had, I smoked pot too, but I don't have much of a drug story after that, so I feel sort of free about the drugs. It's without trying to apologize it for being an outside issue and such. As it is, like, I've never tried cocaine, I've never tried methamphetamines. And the reason for that is because I had no friends. I always envy the people with awesome drug stories. That must be the people that had lots of friends. Nobody ever said, "Hey, Ron, you want to try some cocaine?" I would have said yes. It's too late now. I'm not going to try it now. But we moved to Arizona when I was 17 for no good reason. I spent a year feeling sorry for myself. No offense to people who are from Arizona. I get that some people live there on purpose. I still don't know why. I got a scholarship where I could use to go to any college, and so I got the heck out of Arizona, and I came out here to Hollywood to become a movie star. And I started out as a drama student at the University of Southern California. Yay, Trojans, yeah. Even here in Bruin Country, it's really at any meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous, USC is usually very well represented. It was a fun school to go to back in the 70s if you like to drink. Party, fun all the time, and you just drink for 4 years and then you get a good job or you get recruited to be a Watergate criminal or something like that. It's weird how that university works, but I was a part of it and I had a wonderful time at USC. People mistakenly thought that I was rich because I went to USC, and we cultivated that myth. We called it the myth because it helped us get dates that we otherwise never would have got. And the reason they thought that I was so rich is because tuition then was very, very high. It was $2,950 a year. And I had a scholarship for $2,950 a year, so that... and then the rest of the money I either borrowed or worked over the summer, but I had very little cash in my pocket. And so the cost of alcohol in relation to how much I wanted to drink was a big problem. And I went any place where there was free liquor. So the fraternity houses, the university-sponsored parties would have free liquor too. I don't think they still do that, but they did that then. So I joined a fraternity, don't look too surprised, and I fit in there. I had a wonderful time at the fraternity. You get drunk and you sing obscene songs. Those are two things that I'm really good at. I still remember those songs. I'm good with songs. I would work in little harmony parts for them, and it was fun. It's hard for me to picture getting sober then. I should have, I suppose, and people do get sober at that age. And God bless them, they're certainly welcome here. I think if you're old enough to die from this disease, you're old enough to get sober. So if somebody walks in our meeting and they're only 16, 17 years old, they're a member of the fellowship. They're not a kid, they're a member of the fellowship. They're here for the same reason I'm here. It's hard not to drink. But I just can't, picture myself leaving the fraternity house then. I just had too much of a good time. I quit the drama department. Drama people were kind of getting on my nerves, present company excluded. But you understand what I mean. And I was way tired of people thinking I was gay. It's okay to be gay, but nobody back then ever seemed to mean it as a compliment. I was a skinny, long-haired drama student who knew a lot of show tunes. That didn't mean I wanted to have sex with other men. It just doesn't work that way. It can be awkward to have to explain that sometimes, but I had a different sexual problem, which I will share with you guys since we're all so close. The problem was I wanted sex way more often than I was ever going to get it, okay? I don't mean I wanted it just a little bit and thought it might be a nice idea. I mean I was in pain. My skin hurt, my hair hurt. I needed to touch some girl parts or somebody was going to have it from me. And I was afraid of girls. I was afraid of rejection. I was very shy, and then that becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy because what women are instinctively drawn to is self-confidence. That is, they can't help themselves. They are drawn to self-confidence. Meaning, if you just stand in the corner and you say, oh, well, you probably don't want to dance with me. You're probably all tired and stuff. That doesn't get you anywhere. I've tried that. But alcohol was a complete solution to that problem because on the supply side, I would have self-confidence. I would be willing to go after what I wanted. You know, my probability of success increased from about 0% to about 5%. That's a very important difference. That's like once a month instead of never, basically. And then there's the demand side of the equation as well, if you can follow this, which is that once you drink enough, who cares? Now I don't need it anymore after all. That was, I always quote my old friend Charlie on this, which is, because when he said this from this podium, it meant so much to me that like I went to the bar to meet her, and then I drank enough to get there, and once I was there, I didn't need her anymore. And I thought, oh my God, he's read my mind. That's exactly what I would do. I would, I would take an extra nap after going to a couple of classes. USC is an easy school, but you got to go to class once in a while. And it was, I'd take a little nap, and then I would eat some dinner, and I'd take an extra shower and put on my best clothes and splash on the high karate, go out full of hope, but... and then, drink and then just forget about it. It was, it just sort of worked out that way. Because, no offense to the ladies here, but you're kind of a lot of trouble. The relationship that you have with a bottle of Southern Comfort is very simple. You buy it, you pour it, you drink it. You don't have to wait for the bottle to be in the mood before you drink it, right? You don't have to be nice to its friend. You don't have to remember its birthday. It doesn't care if you were drinking something else the night before. Alcohol is just that easy. And I'll just say one more thing about it before I move on. I do have some other thing to talk about, but it's all these women, they come up to the podium, and then, I would just drink, and then I would black out, and I didn't know who I was going to wake up with. Where were you? Seriously. Because I would drink, and I would black out, and I would wake up all by myself on the floor in my bathroom. That was... Okay, so I figured out I was an alcoholic back then, and that was kind of a bummer. I was afraid other people would know, and that they would make me go to that A&A thing like I saw in the movies, and I knew that wasn't going to work for me because AA means you don't take the first drink. Don't take the first drink. That's not going to fool a math genius such as myself. That means not drinking at all, and I knew not drinking at all was not going to work because I have a special kind of alcoholism, the kind where I still have to drink. And I know that as that is the God's truth, but if you try to explain it to somebody out loud, it's just going to make you sound worse. So I learned to just kind of keep things to myself. I kept my drinking secretive and controlled, and everything started to be secret, secret, secret. I was drinking more alone. I was hiding my drinking, and trying to lead more of a normal life, and I kind of succeeded at that. I finished college. I got married. I went to law school. I passed the bar. I had 4 kids. I lived in a nice house. It doesn't sound like a real low bottom. It sounds like a success story, but I didn't feel like a success story. I felt like a fraud and a failure. I felt like I was overqualified for my job because I should be running the world. I shouldn't be putting in requests to enter default and the other crap that young lawyers have to do. And I felt underqualified because why were my requests for default getting returned? It was embarrassing. And, and then you just carry around this stress. I didn't make nearly as much money as people thought I made, especially my ex-wife. Not that I have any bitterness about that, but it was... I called her Big Chief We Need a New because it was like, we need a new car, we need a new kitchen, we need a new house, we need a new... And I'm just thinking all that time, please just let me die. Other people die. I would like to die of a disease that doesn't hurt too much and isn't my fault. Maybe I'd like to go to jail. Jail would be okay with me. I could go to jail. And she would ask me something like, what are you thinking about? What I should have said was, I'm thinking about killing myself or going to jail because you drive me crazy. I never said that, and I just would mumble like, oh, nothing, I'm just tired. Oh. So that's how much fun it was to be married to me. I would drag myself through life feeling sorry for myself, and if I got a free minute to myself, I would sneak out to a topless bar so I could drink gin and watch pretty girls take off their clothes. Because everybody needs a hobby. I seem to be the only person in Alcoholics Anonymous who's ever been to a topless bar. I'm the only one who ever mentions them. There was this one place, it's probably closed now. It's called the Wild Goose, and I remember that it had a full bar, which is a nice touch, multiple stages with multiple girls dancing, so you had take your pick, and big screen TVs with every sporting event and a buffet. So it was like, why leave? Why? And I was at the Yard once, and I told that story to a guy while we were waiting to play ball. The Yard is not a place where you expect to be judged. And he just looked at me, and he said, you ate the food at the Wild Goose? That's disgusting. Yes, I ate the food at the Wild Goose. It was perfectly good. Go to Aladdin or the Seventh Veil or Angels or Patty's or the Ball or the other Ball. They didn't have buffets, Okay, but anyways. But you can lie to the world about your drinking, but you can't lie to your own body. Your body keeps score. And so here I am, 27 years old. I had gout. I had ulcers. Doctors are wondering, how do you have gout? You're 27. That's kind of young. I went into therapy. I started exercising, and I read self-help books, which is fine, but it's not really the cure for alcoholism. And then what brought me into the 12-step world was my first wife, God bless her, confessed to me what she had been doing to herself, and I had to put her into a rehab for bulimia, which surprised the hell out of me. But bulimics are very secretive, and I wasn't paying all that much attention to her in the first place, and so it just came out of the blue. Now, her rehab was the most intense 3 weeks of my life. It meant more to me than to her, because now my life is finally going to be okay. Now I finally find out what my real problem is, her. We're going to fix her, and life is going to be better. Rehab's is such a wonderful place, full of such optimism. I'm serious. You sit in on your PJs, you talk about yourself all day. What's not to love about rehab, really? And there's the optimism. I mean, everybody in a rehab was just about to die a week from Tuesday. And they've all had their life saved, and they've all hit bottom. That's the most optimistic thing you can ever say. How on earth do you know that you've hit bottom? Stuff could still get way worse. It's like saying that everything from now on is going to go up, and you just don't know that. Anyways, went through her rehab with her. I read all the books they gave her because I'm a good reader, and I wanted her to get well fast. And so I went to the therapy appointments with her to make sure she was getting the idea. And they turned me on to this disease called codependency, and they said, oh, listen, you have to come to our codependency group. Codependency, it's this disease. You might have never heard of it because we just made it up a couple months ago. But not only do you have it, but you are in denial about the fact that you have it. I'm like, wow. So I read every book I could find that had codependency in the title, and I started calling myself a people pleaser. It took me years to look around my life and realize I couldn't point to one single person who was pleased. So that's just my rule. If you're a people pleaser, keep up the good work. But if you can't point to any people that really are pleased, you might as well stop accusing yourself of that. She didn't really stick with that, but I started going to meetings of Adult Children Anonymous, and you hold hands or work the steps, and pretty girls hug you and stuff, and you can still drink. So that was kind of working for me, but I found out from my ACA friends about keeping track of the number of days that you're sober. Because I knew I needed to quit drinking, and I did, but then I would make exceptions and I would drink again. And so, keep track of the number of days. Let's see, it was in Cabo, and I had those margaritas. That was July 13th. I didn't realize then that those margaritas would define my status for volleyball games for years at the yard, but that was it, July 13th, 1990. And I started counting those number of days, but then my life became unbearable because no matter how much I needed to drink, I couldn't take one because I didn't want to count over on my days. And I just had too much ego involved. I was thinking that everybody was keeping track. I got so uncomfortable that I came here. I mean, not here literally, but to AA meetings. And I hated it. I mean, it was awful. I was already the secretary, treasurer, cleanup, setup at the ACA meetings, but I just felt so out of place at the AA meetings. And but I started sharing honestly about it, and I got commitments, and I kept coming back. I got to a year, and so I got that divorce that I'd been saving up for, which was kind of a horrible, nasty, ugly process, but I was going to have to do it if I was going to stay sober or stay alive. I just couldn't stay in that marriage. You have to take my word for that. After I got separated, I was doing commitments, and, I struggled. It was a struggle. Financially, in a lot of ways, it was a big struggle. It was after that I met this beautiful Scandinavian-looking, tall, gorgeous redhead who was totally outside of my league, but she was nice to me and talked to me once in a while, go figure, and she invited me to the Pacific Group. I didn't care what the Pacific Group was. If she invited me somewhere, I was going. And so we went, and I kind of chased her around the Pacific Group, and I was just sort of her shadow and such, but I eventually caught her, and we've been married now for 21 years. It's, yay, and you all know Julie, my wife. In fact, most people don't even know me until I tell them that I'm married to Julie. I'm here at the synagogue. This is a conversation I've had about 1 million times. Ron who? Ron St. John? That's a funny name. How do I know you? I'm Julie's husband. Oh, that Ron, yeah. And they say, how is Julie? Oh, I tried to share this recently in Paramount. I told them I'm the Mickey Cook of Pacific Group. Okay, yeah, they got that. It was Julie and I have had a lot of challenges. We've dealt with a lot of difficulties, and we've dealt with them together. And we've stuck with AA, and we've stuck with our sponsors, and we've kept doing the deal. One of the challenges we had, I had 4 kids. I was paying all my money to child support. She had 3 kids. She was paying all her money to child support, which is why we were such a perfect match. And, it's hard with stepkids. They don't love you at first all the time, except her middle-aged son did, because he was an easy kid. He was just a friendly kid, a big sports star. And we would sit around playing Pokemon together and watch sports on TV. He was the only kid I ever had who really liked my cooking. I like to cook, but I'm not very good at it. But you couldn't tell Jordan that. But as it is, the biggest challenge that we dealt with came to us on April 19th, 2001, that was a long time ago. It was almost 16 years ago, when Jordan went away for spring break, and then he didn't come back. He was the only fatality in a car crash out in the desert. And something like that happens, it's so devastating. It's so overwhelming. And we kept going to our meetings. We kept doing our commitments. And we got more support from AA than we got from anywhere else for a longer period of time. People were so nice to us, and we're really grateful for that. It was 3 years after Jordan died that I got the bad news that I had throat cancer. I had malignant tumors in my throat. Yeah, it's hard to be spiritual when somebody tells you have malignant tumors. That's just depressing. I was being sponsored by Frank Jones then. I called him. I called him up on the phone, like from a parking lot, like, I got the test results back, and the tumors are malignant. And he paused. He says, "Have you got any life insurance?" I said, "Yeah." He says, "I think you should add me to your policy." I kept checking in with them, and suited up and showed up and did what we should do. I went for radiation. AA doesn't cure cancer. You got to go to the cancer center for that. But they got rid of the cancer, and I learned the difference between cancer and alcoholism. I've cheated death now twice. Alcoholism kills you just as dead as cancer, but society has a different point of view on cancer. When people find out you have cancer, they're just so sympathetic and so supportive. I had people I barely knew forming prayer groups for me. It was embarrassing. For alcoholics, not so much. Not a lot of prayer groups for us. Nobody's going to wear a yellow bracelet for the alcoholics. There's not going to be any walkathons. And the treatment for cancer basically consists of torture. They put poison in you on purpose so that they can kill the cancer and almost kill you in the process. And either that or they chop off body parts. It was, and we just signed the consent forms. Okay, I missed 3 months of work. Okay. You're going to poison me. Yeah, okay, I'll consent to that. Are you going to chop off a piece of my tongue? Okay. I signed that consent form. I went to the yard 2 days after they chopped off a piece of my tongue. Showed Frank. Frank was around there. It was like, let me see. And he called Clancy over. He says, "Hey, Clancy, come here and look at Ron. They chopped off a piece of his tongue." And Clancy said, "Must not have been a very big piece. It hasn't shut him up." Really. Okay, but now for alcoholism, nobody's going to chop off your tongue. Nobody's going to make you take poison. You have to read that book. That's the cure. You got to read that book. You got to come to meetings. You got to get a sponsor. And here's most of us when we hear that news. Oh, no. My case isn't that bad. It's okay for you guys. And they leave, and they don't come back. To walk away from an AA meeting is the easiest thing in the world. To walk away in a self-righteous huff, we've seen so many people do it. You want to leave, and so you look around the room, and you notice all the human beings, and you figure out that they're a bunch of liars and cheaters and cheats, a bunch of hustlers. Some of them are just plain crazy. And you're right. You're right. However bad you think we are, we're worse. We're worse. But there's a secret that makes any meeting better, this meeting or any other meeting. Show up every week. Come every week and get a commitment. The meeting gets better by magic because we need each other. To work the steps, you need a group. The first word of the first step is we, W-E. It's not a do-it-yourself program. It's a program that we work together. We admitted we were powerless over alcohol. Chapter 5 starts out, rarely have we seen a person fail. It's not great grammar. It's not a sentence that's going to get you an A in high school English. It would be better to say, people who follow our path rarely fail. But by saying, rarely have we seen a person fail, it shows you that there's a group of people who are paying attention to whether or not you fail. It's a whole different message. I've been so blessed by the people in this group that have kept showing up and have kept being part of the group and kept being of service and really lived the steps. It's Christmas, and I want to remember Vince Yo, because I was part of his life too. He directed a show that I was in. And there was a time when I was so ashamed of my finances, and I went to Vince right here in this room, and I said, "Can I please go to finance class?" And he looked at me, and he looked away. He looked at me, and he said, "No." Yeah, that surprised me, really. I mean, what? But you remember Vince, when he was never plagued by ambiguity. When he knew something, he was quite certain of it. And so, okay, I didn't go to finance class. But, and then after my stepson Jordan died, he and Pat were both so compassionate and so helpful for us. They had us over to their house for dinner. Vince cooked us this big old steak dinner with salad and everything. It was very nice. And one of the awful things you have to do if you lose a child is decide, what do you do with his stuff? What do you do with his Pokemon cards? What do you do with his clothes? We took a whole stack of Jordan's clothes to Vince and Pat made us this beautiful quilt. And now we have that presence of Jordan with us still. And it's also a reminder of the love and support that we've gotten from people in this group. I have to remember my previous sponsor, Frank Jones. It was so reassuring to hear that deep, gravelly voice on the phone. He would always tell me, "You're all right. Hello, Ron St. John. How the hell are you?" He'd tell me, "Keep on marching." Actually, he would say, "Keep on marching" every day, because that was his way of saying, "Shut up and get off the phone now." That was just... I checked in with him when I had cancer. I checked in with him when he had cancer. He never told me to stop. And I got that call last year, February 15th, from Natalie. Came in the morning, I was driving, that he had finally passed away like we kind of expected. And I saw my brother Brian. I was going to Mountain High tryouts that day. And that afternoon, Sunday afternoon, I called Tom Bouchard, and I had a new sponsor, which I later found out meant that I had accidentally joined this gigantic fraternity of middle-aged men. It's a very strange thing to have to describe, but I'm very grateful to be a part of that. If you are sober for 26 years, there's no guarantee that you're going to have a great job, that you're going to live near the beach, that you're going to be married to a smoking dime piece. Even though that is what happened to me, ha ha. The guarantee that we give you is that you sleep through the night. And when you wake up in the morning, your head is clear and your conscience is clear. All the crap that you have to deal with in between meetings, there's somebody here that can point you in the right direction. Somebody's been through the same thing or worse. And the solution to every damn problem is always exactly the same. You suit up, you show up, you do the next indicated thing. Like Frank told me, the past is gone and you can't do a thing to change it. You don't give any thought at all to the past. And the future belongs to God. And that just leaves today. We focus on one day at a time. We do what's in front of us. It's a good way to live. If you want to live that way too, you can. You keep coming back to these meetings and we'll be here. You do the stuff that we do, and your life gets better. Thank you for letting me share.
We celebrate AA birthdays at this meeting. For each 365 consecutive days of sobriety, we present a cake with the appropriate number of candles on it. We define sobriety as freedom from alcohol, pills, pot, or anything which affects you from the neck up. If you are a regular attendee of this meeting and would like to take a cake, please see me at the door before the meeting. We have several birthdays tonight, so please Let's sing briskly, and birthday people, speak briefly. And please don't forget to pick up your candles as you exit the podium. Our first birthday tonight is for 1 year for Luke V.
Luke, alcoholic. I'd like to thank God, Clancy, my sponsor Dave, my first sponsor John, my uncle Nathan, and my aunt Trish, and all of you. Thank you.
Happy birthday, Luke. Now we have a 3-year birthday for James M.
James Marshall's alcoholic. I'd like to thank God, my great sponsor, Rich B., my lovely wife, Jasmine, my great friend, Mark D., Alcoholics Anonymous, Clancy, and all of you.
Happy birthday, James. Now we have a 4-year birthday for Brian O.R.
Brian O'Reilly, alcoholic. I want to thank Alan for allowing me to take a cake, and my sponsor, Rich, and all of you. Thank you.
Happy birthday, Brian. And we have another 4-year birthday for Alexander N.
Hi, my name is Alexander Negruta. I'm an alcoholic. I would like to thank God, my sponsor Andre, my grand sponsor Thomas Sells, Clancy for the structure, and all of you. Thank you.
Happy birthday, Alexander. Now we have a 16-year birthday for Anthony R.
Hi, I'm Anthony. I'm an alcoholic. I want to thank God. I want to thank my sponsor, Corey K. I want to thank all my friends here at Pacific Group, especially my dear missing friend, Casey Crane. And I want to thank Alcoholics Anonymous for giving me a life worth living. Thank you.
Happy birthday, Anthony. Now we have an 18-year birthday for Amy S.
Amy, alcoholic. I want to thank God, my sponsor Karen, Clancy, and all of you.
Happy birthday, Amy. Now we have a 21-year birthday for Fran R.
Hi, everyone. I'm Fran. I'm an alcoholic. I'd like to thank God, my beautiful, amazing sponsor, Vivian, and I'd like to thank the concussion meeting attendees and all of you, and Clancy. Thank you.
Happy birthday, Fran. And now we have a 34-year birthday for Bridget B. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Bridget. Happy birthday to you. Keep coming back.
Hi, I'm Bridget. I'm an alcoholic. Thank you, God, Alcoholics Anonymous, my beautiful sponsor, Marilyn, and all of you.
Happy birthday, Bridget. That's all the birthdays. I know. We have one out-of-town birthday for 39 years for David H. from Tonasket, Washington. I know. Total of 8 birthdays, 101 years, an average of 12.6 years. We have a custom at the Pacific Group of donating $1 for each candle on our cake, and at the end of the year, that money becomes our contribution to AA organizations worldwide. If you wish to participate in that custom, please see my assistants at the door when you sign up to take your cake.
To introduce your Pacific Group Orchestra for Christmas.
The fiddles do-a-do-a-do-a-do-a-det. The clarinet goes do-a-do-a-do-a-det. The clarinet goes do-a-do-a-do-a-do-a-det. The clarinet goes do-a-do-a-do-a-det.
The horns, they shout it out. 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 The drums have no trouble, just double, dub, double, 5, 1, 5, boom, 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 boom. The horns, they shout it out. The horns, they shout it out.
The trumpets go trump-a-dee-dee-dee-dee, 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 trumpets go trump-a-dee-dee-dee-dee, trump-a-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee.
The horns, they shout it out. The horns, they shout it out.
The bassoon, it makes a point of counterpoint. La 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 la. Bassoon, it makes a point of counterpoint. La 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 la.
The horns, they shout it out. 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 Now we have an orchestra, from fiddle to bassoon. We've gone to meetings early just to practice on this tune. Practice what?
An opera?
A minor mass in D.
A Bach quartet?
A Haydn fugue? A Schubert symphony?
Don't be ridiculous. We have a better reason than that. Come and see our old PG, which is the place we want to be, to bring to you and sing to you a song that's from our heart. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We